Welcome back to another episode of Straight Facts. I'm joined today by Mike. He's been away for a long time. KJ is back.
Yo, what's up, peeps? Like, listen, again, people like to do this little thing. Oh, what's going on here? It's KJ and Terry falling out. Nah, boy, we good. I'm just, out here enjoying life, building myself up in these desperate times, you know what I mean? Try to build new habits, new ways of going about it. So yeah, man, all good people. Hopefully everyone else is good. You know what I'm saying? It's very stressful times right now. I saw petrol go up to 149 today.
Bro, I paid 159. 159. 159. Absolutely massive. So loads going on. And of course, probably the first place to start, the only place we can really start today is the Super League. The Super League is, when I say the Super League is back, there is talk of the proposals being put forward today. And there are contrary reports depending on which country's media you look at. But it sounds like they're coming back and saying there's going to be 20 teams, 2 leagues, jeopardy. You can fall out of it. You can qualify for it. It's more open. It's not a closed shop. But we think this is going to be a great competition that's going to make more money than the Champions League. Come on board. Like, in terms of what I'm read as a basic overview, it's almost like all the things that the general public didn't like about the previous one, it feels like they've removed. Of course, UEFA have come out and they're not happy. UEFA are fuming. This is wrong. This is disgraceful. Gary Neville's come out. This is disgraceful. This is wrong. But I'm willing to, at the very least, listen to the actual proposal to see how it comes out. The foreign media have said that Man United, Manchester City, Chelsea and Liverpool are in as part of the 10 to 12 inaugural teams that are backing this. The UK press, i.e. the Telegraph, have said there's no Premier League teams in it as of now. But in terms of you, though, mate, you hear that it's coming back. You've obviously read the differences that the media have put out there. Like, what's your take on it returning for a secondary proposition?
Well, first of all, we need to run this classic back. The theme tune of the Super League. Super League. Oh, hold tight, Lippy. I searched ages for that.
I literally thought you were about to get me copyright struck down, right? And I'm like, oh, what's he doing? What's he doing?
Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. But in terms of the Super League itself, we all knew it wasn't going away. Perez made it very clear that he would come back with a vengeance. He has made it very clear that the Premier League teams who signed up were in legally binding contracts. I remember the interview. I remember all the noise coming out from his side. So it's not a surprise that it's back. It's not a surprise that he's coming again with a different proposal. This time, though, you can kind of see it more. Again, there's how you feel about Perez and the fact that he's trying to change things is different, is by the by. But if you just look at the structure of the Super League now, you've got to actually take it seriously this time. It's no longer a closed shop. It's no longer a exclusive rich boys club. You know what I mean? No longer exclusive big boys club. It's now looking like more of an open format where anyone can aim and strive to get the riches that the Super League brings. Because let's be honest, that's all it's about. It's not about the integrity of the game. It's not about improving the sport. It's about none of that. It's about making money. It always has been and always will be about that. So if a team wants to aim for that opportunity, the Super League now has made it open for them to do that, which I think is fair enough. I think it's fair. Less teams as well. So again, is that a good thing? Because the Champions League, people can argue it's been oversaturated with teams from all these different kind of levels, and you get teams like Sheriff, the Malmos, the maybe some of the Israeli teams that go through. Like, is that fair? Is that entertaining? Is that a money spinner? Like, I can understand why they would limit the teams, and for us, the fans, does it actually give us the quality football we're looking for in the Champions League, but in the format of the Super League? Is that what we actually would want? Do I mind my team drawing Sheriff? No. Well, maybe not right now with Man United, but still, like with Man United, if we drew Sheriff in our group stage, we're like, cool, happy days, like a 2-pointer, 6-pointer. But in terms of the quality of the package, no disrespect to Sheriff, because obviously they've come in and had their experience of their lifetime beating Real Madrid and stuff. Is that something that as a package you want to see? So I understand how they're going about it. It's a lot better than this time. And I feel like they'll have more people on board this time than they did the first time.
Listen, I agree to a very large extent. I want to say hello, by the way, first of all, to Football Matters FC. 5 months as a squad member. He says hi, Terry and KJ, with the funds up there. Thank you very much. I look at it from the point of view of, if I look back and think about the biggest things I was frustrated with, I think initially I was just shocked like everybody, and then you start to break it down. It was the lack of jeopardy, the closed shop, and how that money was just going to stay. All this, the billions of pounds that the companies were looking to invest into, it was all going to stay amongst whichever teams joined up to this league. And it wasn't going to filter its way down. That bothered me. I feel we have to wait for the detail. You always have to wait for the detail on these matters. But as you say, it's not a one-stop shop. It's not closed off. It's not ring-fenced from anybody else. Anybody can progress their way into it. So if you're a Leicester City and your owners want to spend money and progress you and get you into to win the Premier League one day and to get into the Super League, they have the ability to do that, and I like it. I also like the idea of there being a secondary league. So what I've read today is there is a second league with another 20 members. So there's going to be almost 40 teams in this. Maybe they'll even create a third and a fourth tier to this at some point. As long as the money is spread, again, there's part of me that thinks this could be quite sensible. One thing about the Champions League, and I see this as a content creator, people aren't excited about the group stages anymore. When you get a group like Man United had last year, like City have had this year, where you'll get PSG City or PSG Man United in a group stage, oh, that's entertaining. Liverpool kind of had on paper the group of death. You know, they were playing AC Milan. They were playing who else they played? Ati, yeah, they played Ati. So that was a good group. So you can't, generally a season, you might get one or two decent groups. The rest are dead. And people don't tune in and people don't watch it. I also understand when you're one of the big boys in Europe, you're like, why is a small club in a country that's got the 10th ranked highest league in Europe getting paid the same amount of money as us through the Champions League group stages when no one's paying to watch them? There's almost this element of, and I do agree with that to a large degree. If you're bringing in the majority of the audience, you deserve a bigger slice of the pie. You know, if me and you are on the same record label, but you're selling 10 million albums a year and I'm selling 1 million albums a year, do I deserve the same amount of pay? No, I don't think I do. And I think these are all the kind of things here that I sort of look at and think to myself, need to be kind of addressed to a large extent with this. And as I say, I want to wait for the details to come out to see how I truly feel about it. But innovation is innovation. Football has to evolve and move forward. When they readjusted the Champions League all those years ago to include second place teams and then third place teams and then fourth place teams, everybody bemoaned it and said it wouldn't work. And I think the Champions League is just a tremendous competition. I actually think they've gone too far with expanding it, and it's less competitive early on. It isn't until, in all due respect, this year it's not going to be until the quarterfinals that everybody really starts to get their juices flowing. All the English teams, barring Man United, got draws for the first round of knockouts where they went, easy. It doesn't always go that way. It's every now and then there are shocks, but how often are there these shocks? So I think they have to try and make it more competitive. I think that the idea of having weekly midweek games where you'll get AC Milan, Man United, Liverpool, Barcelona, PSG, Bayern Munich is crazy exciting, where every single game, like the Premier League, matters. So essentially your team plays in two leagues. It plays in the Premier League and it plays in the Super League. For me, I'm not as angry this time round as some people are. I need to see the detail first. The detail might change my mind.
Yeah.
But where I'm really frustrated today is seeing certain YouTubers, this is a disgrace. You're going to cover the games, bruv. You are going to do previews. You're going to do match reactions. You're going to do stories that leak from this European Super League. I'll back and support any presenter, any journalist, any pundit, any YouTuber, any blogger or vlogger who completely ostracizes this tournament from their content or from their schedule. But I want to say, Gary Neville, I respect your opinion on this league. If Sky Sports win the TV rights, will he walk? Will he walk? Will he say, there's no way you're going to earn, Sky are going to earn money from it. There's no way I'm going to have my salary paid by a company that's generating income from a tournament that I think is abhorrent. I don't think he will. If he does, I'll be proud of him as an ex-United player and a Man United legend. But I don't know if he will. And that's why I'm keeping my powder dry. I am not coming out going, this is a disgrace. And then in 18 months' time, I'm sitting there, welcome to the preview of the Super League tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to look an idiot. And I look at it along the lines of, if what I was angry with the previous one has been addressed now, there's a part of me that go, well, I can't. And the only other thing I'll add is I'll be disappointed if winning the Super League doesn't count towards your European trophies. That's what they need to resolve. That's what they need to resolve here in the sense of, I don't want it to end with United with 3, Chelsea with 2, Liverpool with 6. And then if you win the Super League, you've got 1 Super League and you've got 3 Champions Leagues. I want it to be accumulated. Like the Premier League counts for leagues. These are little details that I want to have resolved. But you know what's massive as well, Kay? Sorry. Do you remember that a gal came on the other day and he bantered Chelsea fans because they won a tournament that FIFA recognized once upon a time as a friendly? This could be that exact moment again. UEFA and FIFA are not going to like this tournament because it's not theirs. However, if in a year's time, UEFA or FIFA make a bid and go, right, well, we want to be involved, we'll pay, I don't know, £500 million to be a partnering governing body, then they'll endorse it and everybody will be on board. If UEFA were announced, if this was UEFA's plan today and not a break-off company, would the same outrage be there is my kind of question, you know? So I think for me, there's lots of questions to still be answered, but I'm keeping a very, very open mind with this. Very open mind.
Yeah, when you describe it there, as in potentially you have a European league that runs throughout the season for most of the season, that is exciting. I'm not gonna lie. Instead of just having what you get the 3 teams you play against in the yes, I mean, yeah, we had like a massive heart-to-heart, man-to-man about all the issues that we've had over the last 2 years, and we've made up. That's why I've disappeared. My guy Sarim, man, great guy. But yeah, you play the 3 teams that you got in the group stage, and then what, round of 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then finals. So that's potentially only 7 teams you get to play against, and then they're barring the team you might get drawn again from the group stage. You might face them again at some point, and then also you've got the 3 other teams from your nation that you've already played against already in the league. So to change that format to more of a, you get to face, you got the 4 from the other 3 from the league that you're already in, and then another 6. No, not even more than that. Say 20 teams in each. Another like 17, 18, 19 more different teams to play against in a season. That is way more exciting. I'm not gonna lie, that is like. And then if you want to have a tournament playoff kind of thing at the end of it, then again makes it exciting again. Like you could say this, this is just the Americanization of our game and it's infiltrating the sport. It's like, well, it's a different kind of tournament, different kind of format where there is relegation and promotion. There, you do have to still qualify for it. And again, it won't be, in theory, it won't be the same teams every year.
So, yeah, and that's why, as you say, mate, that's why the detail is needed. And there's an interesting comment here that sort of said, what about like players' health? Well, again, let's look at the details. Let's look at how many games in their entirety the players are going to have to play. You know, maybe it works out. You know, again, it could be that the teams in the Super League don't play in the League Cup, as an example. Now,
that's a great idea.
That could be something that happens. So there's a potential there to save games and save time there. That also opens up more of an opportunity for other teams in England to win trophies and win things. That could be an option as an example. But again, it's about looking at it. It's about weighing it up, and it's about reviewing how this works. I mean, I've even thought about the Premier League in recent years, thinking they need to reduce how many teams are in that. Because again, I think making it a little bit more exclusive in terms of the quality that's in there makes it more exciting. The leader here says, according to Florentino Perez on an interview, the Champions League trophy will still count in the Super League. Well, I think, yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, for me,
they'll have to come to agreement with UEFA about that, though. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Barhu here says the new Champions League format by UEFA is just as bad as the Super League. We might as well support the Super League. At least there is no corrupt UEFA involved. And
But don't just think there will be no corruption, boy. You know what I mean? There will still be corruption in the Super League, fam. It's just the way it is.
well, this is one of the things as well. I saw this morning, first of all, Arsenal fans like, oh, my club, we're not involved. Yes. I'm like, bruv, chill out. Then we saw that the Telegraph say no English club is involved. And everyone's like, oh, great. I'm so happy my team hasn't done it. Listen, if this announcement comes out and fans around Europe go, this is actually better. If other clubs, forget the inaugural teams, if you think of, if suddenly the Leicesters and Wolves and the Sevillas and the Atalanta start to say, hang on a minute, like if we qualify for this, it's worth 300 million pounds, which quadruples, quadruples our yearly turnover. Listen, we think we can qualify for this. We think we can do over the next 2 years. We can qualify. We want it. If they start to support it, you watch Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea go, oh, we'll get involved. Everybody's. I believe what all the certain clubs are going to do is they're just going to wait. They're just going to sit there and wait. And it's one of those things. Everybody's doing it. There's one thing in life that's a hard thing. Early adopters always get it in the neck. You know, when people start doing things first. I remember, you know, there would have been a generation. No one, mobile phones will never catch on. iPhones will never catch. iPods will never catch on. You have to be an early adopter sometimes. And some of these clubs are going to go straight out there and say, no, I want to get involved straight away. Eventually, at some point, there'll be a tipping point. And if it goes through and it happens and fans start to enjoy it, in 10, 15 years' time, it will laugh at the fact. The irony in it is, when I was talking to like my dad about this, he was like, yeah, but this was everybody's reaction to the Premier League when it was announced. It will never work. It's a disgrace. Who says that now? Really and truly. So look, UEFA not being involved is always going to put their nose out of joint as an example. It always will. But as we say, UEFA and FIFA don't really have a leg to stand on, in my opinion. Since the club signed a contract to join the Super League, can they sue us for breaking the contract and not joining? Look, I think it really depends on how binding those contracts are, what the get out clauses are. I mean, if their league doesn't go ahead, there isn't a league to sue. What's interesting is their website stayed up this whole time, this whole 12 months, nearly 11 months. The website stayed up. There's been lots of murmurs over the last 12 months that this wasn't going to. This was always going to happen. And I think we said it on the terrace. They're going to go away. They're going to reconvene. They're going to listen to the things. Listen to the feedback. Well, go the main 5 gripes everybody had with these 5 things. Let's just represent it and fix those 5 things, and then it might still be on board, because we all know, by the way, that the majority of the inaugural teams that are going to go into it will remain in it. We know Barca generally, Man City, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, if they join it, they're all going to be in it every year. They know they are in it, and with the money that they're then going to earn, they're going to be able to buy even more, have even more quality. That's how the money spreads. You know, if you're a team like a Lyon that develops very talented players, you're now like, right, this is good for us, because it now means all the big European supers that buy our players have got an extra 100, 200, 300 million pound a year coming in, where we were selling our players an average of 40 million pound. We're now charging 80 million pounds. So this is why everybody needs to look beyond the binary, who's in the league and who gets the money. It's how does the money spread from that position across football? How will it work? So a lot of teams might be supportive of this, even if they believe they have no chance of ever getting into that league, because it might make more money for them in their business model.
Yeah,
you know?
and the second league is a big game changer as well, because then you kind of bring back the old UEFA Cup that was so highly respected and so like highly watched as well, like for considering it was supposed to be the second tier of European football. Bro, you had Fulham versus flipping Atleti. Like, where else can you see something like that, where you have a team with such stature as Atleti, and then a team like Fulham, for all sense of purposes, ain't the biggest club in Europe, but they go head to head in a final. I swear it was those 2 teams. If I'm not correct, if I'm wrong, correct me. But yeah, like the second league is gonna be good as well, because then it will push, like you say, the Wolves, the Sevillas, the Atalantas, all these other teams to try and get better, be in the second league. And then the money they generate from that, and potentially the money they generate from selling their players to Super League teams, they could creep into the Super League, and then it feeds a more competition. I feel like with the Europa League and now the Conference League, it's so watered down, and the disparity between both competitions, again, it makes to the point where clubs they'd rather not be in it. Like they'd rather not do it.
It's true. It's very, very true. And as I say, fans of clubs who are not currently involved, keep your powder dry because you might be. You know, don't this moral high ground people are taking. Look, Man United right now, according to the Telegraph, are not involved. But I'm not acting like, yeah, we've got great morals. Have we heckers like got great morals compared to anybody else? Equally, YouTubers and presenters, I go back and say what I said earlier. Get off your moral high ground. You're going to cover this. You know, if you're a YouTuber and you're trying to become a presenter, and the new TV company that buy the rights says, yo, listen, brother, we want you to come on and be the main host. You're not going to say, no, I'm going to stand by my moral high ground here and say, no, this is a disgrace. You're going to say, cool, how much? And I would. I'm going to be completely open and honest about it. I will be. Sully here says, love your honesty on the Super League, Terry. We need to be honest about this. We need to wait. The details might come out and I might hate it. And I may change my mind. But I'm being very open and objective based on what we do know. As Gooners don't have a leg to stand on, forgetting our ex-chairman David Dean created the Premier League, crossing the old First Division. That's the evolution. Look, and again, fans are very tit for tat, as we know. Fans are always tit for tat. They're always going to be tit for tat. But if the majority of clubs start to move towards this, Arsenal will say, can we join, please? And Arsenal, by the way, will probably make their way into the inaugural 20. Wouldn't it be ironic if Arsenal made top 4 and then this new Super League comes in and they're not in it? That would be funny. I would laugh at that, to be fair. Super Chat here says, I feel like the new revamped Champions League is a bit too much. I would like to keep it as it is. No wonder European clubs' superpowers are pushing for this, because UEFA cheapskating the prize pool. Of course, it's going to make. Thank you for tour. Of course, it's going to make people do it. You know, I understand why Man United and Liverpool and Arsenal for years have pushed to be given more of the Premier League's TV deal money, especially the international money. Because if you break down the viewing figures their games get compared to everybody else, everybody else is like, I think Man United's viewing figures for a game is the equivalent of about 12 of the other clubs each weekend put together, unless they're playing
a bigger team,
bigger teams. So of course they're demanding more money, and I understand why. UEFA does a thing where UEFA's making more and more money as these competitions expand, but clubs are not. The national governing bodies are not, and it's a case of, well, let's create our own then. You know, this one of the things we should have done when all the corruption around FIFA came out. Somebody should have broke off and created another World Cup that isn't run by them. That is what should have happened, but instead it didn't. And I understand it. I understand why this is happening. It's just got to be done right. If the Super League happens, Chelsea are more desirable. Look, I think Chelsea are more desirable. I think Chelsea are desirable anyway. I think Chelsea are going to attract buyers. I think people are going to want to buy Chelsea. I wouldn't be worried about Chelsea not getting a buyer at all. In terms of what's next for Chelsea, though, Cade, like obviously, the interesting story today that maybe Roman isn't going to be able to be sanctioned, according to, I think, the Times or the Telegraph, one of the two. But he has committed to sell. If they do sell, what's next for Chelsea, in your opinion?
They're in for an interesting time, to say the least. You never fully know who you want to get. I've listened to some people speak on the man, Chelsea fans speak on the man, and a lot of it is a lot of hope in Roman brokering a deal with another fan of Chelsea or another fan of football who will be committed to making sure that the success that Roman's built is continued on, which is possible, which is very much possible indeed. But on the other hand, it's very much plausible and possible that they don't get that they do get an owner who's pretty much ready to just use it for money. You know what I mean? Like for every Roman, there's probably like 2 or 3 Glazers. So there's that problem in itself as well. And then my question is for Chelsea fans, if it does not go your way, if it does not go the way of building Chelsea to become better, what are you guys going to do? What are you guys willing to do? Because as you've seen with Man United, just a protest every few years isn't enough. As you're seeing with Arsenal, a protest every time something goes wrong isn't enough. If this turns out to be an owner who's not dedicated, who's not really willing to spend on the football side of things, what are Chelsea fans willing to do? Now, we saw them mobilize against the Super League when it originally came through, and they were a big factor in seeing like other fan bases, other teams and people protest. So they've got it in them to do so. But are they willing to put it in the week out, the amount of noise it would need to take for these billionaires with all this money to listen? That's the question I would ask, and I'm not expecting an answer because they'll never know until if that situation comes up. But they need to understand that if this does happen and it doesn't go the way you want it to, you've either got to be willing to put up or shut up.
I don't even think the money's an issue, because Roman has only been pumping around 10 to 20 million a year into the club of his own money since FFP, essentially. The Super League money, I think, if this was to happen, you know, the new TV money that's coming from the new American TV deal, they're going to be fine financially. It's about how the club is run. The one thing that I find very interesting from Chelsea fans is their view, Roman, and the way they've been run under Roman has been the best ever in England, best ever in the Prem era. That's actually the scary thought, because if it really is the best, the likelihood of finding someone as good or better is very, very hard indeed. So I don't think Chelsea fans should be panicking and crying and screaming and worrying right now. But it's certainly, as in like overly worrying, but it's certainly a time to sit back and reflect, because all clubs go through up and down periods. And maybe we're about to see Chelsea hit a downturn period now. Maybe Chelsea are not going to be as successful for the next 10 years as they have been in the got to remember, since the year 2000, and he didn't even take over until 2003, but from the year 2000 until now, 22 years, no club in England has been more successful than Chelsea across total trophies won. You know, they've won 2 Champions Leagues, 5 Premier Leagues, umpteen European and international tournaments, FA Cups, League Cups. They've done doubles. So that might slow down for a while. Equally, they could get someone in that runs a club even better, and they go to another level. They could go to another level. They could get in. They could have someone that has a different philosophy, slight different philosophy. Maybe someone comes in and runs it how Man City have run things, and maybe their next manager does what Pep's done, and they win 4 leagues out of a 5-year period, which Chelsea have never done under Roman. So I think there's an element of fear. There should also be an element of excitement, but it's all about keeping your feet on the ground until we know, what's likely to happen. All this talk of they're going to go out of business, they're going to go bust, like that's just all like utter complete nonsense. Like that is not happening in a month of Sundays. It really, really isn't. It really, really isn't. So Tahir here, who's a big Chelsea fan himself, says, "Hey Terry, what do you think about the agreement the English clubs signed with the Prem about not doing another Super League?" Again, this is maybe why there's currently no English teams involved. But deals can be scrapped. This is what I think may happen. If the proposal is good, and suddenly everyone's going, "Oh, this is good, oh, I like it." Yeah, but we can't join if you sign a proposal. Oh, listen, we'll rip it up. Yeah, I mean, treaties have been ripped up before. So it's almost, to get out of an agreement, you just need someone to sign it off. And this will go through if large proportions of the smaller clubs, and I mean that with respect, in the Prem, in Serie A, in the Liga, also think this is a good idea. They'll rip the agreement up, or they won't rip it up. They'll get a new agreement written up saying it's over, and then everybody will sign it, and then they'll vote it in, or they'll just go to a vote and 14 other clubs say yes, we now vote for them. They're allowed to join if they want to. I don't think it'll be a big problem at all. If everybody rejects the idea again, then they're stuck. Equally, what does the agreement say? What if the Super League's got a different name now? We will not join the Super League, and it's now called we won't join the European Super League. It's now just called the Super League. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm talking like semantics here, but we'll see what happens. Winnerpool says, Terry, what if Lyon could get 80 million for their players? They will be even further away because top teams are earning 10 times more. It makes zero sense for smaller clubs. Money is just a number. Well, it depends on how they invest that money. It depends on what their ambition is. You do realize that not every club has the ambition to want to be Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Liverpool Football Club. Like even if they had that money, they don't all, that isn't everybody's ambition. Some are like, do you know what we'll do? We'll just keep our feet on the ground. We'll invest some of that money. We'll keep that money and we'll keep doing what we're doing. Like, well, that's just how football is. You know, yes, everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to get to the top, but it's also a realization. But if the point I'm making is, if Liverpool Football Club, as an you support, start earning an extra £200 million a year because of this new deal, but now suddenly all the players they buy are costing whatever that equivalent, say there's a 40% increase in their income because of the Super League. If the cost of players goes up by 40, 50%, that money's being spread across the game. That is my point. It won't be ring fenced purely to these bigger clubs. I love KJ. I keep dreaming of KJ every day. My boy KJ, I dream. Safe and KJ got married, he says. Safe says he wants to marry you.
Safe. You're not my type. That's all I can say.
I don't know if Safe's anybody's type, to be honest. I don't know.
Safe is someone's type. There is someone out
I
there
don't know.
who will love Safe for Safe. I am pretty sure. I am pretty sure.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, as I said, I think the Super League is it's weird. This is coming. It's funny. One of the things, what is it the president said today of UEFA? He says, "How dare they put this proposal out when there's a war going on?" And I thought to myself, that's a bit of a mad statement, isn't it? Like, so nothing can happen now. No one can do anything because, like, I don't mean crudely. Like, we're all very, very sorry to see what's going on, but like, you're running a tournament, bro. Like, is UEFA going to do no new deals during this time? Listen, we're stopping all conversations about sponsors.
They're too busy. They're too busy kicking out Russian teams. You have got nothing to do with this out of competitions, bro. So again, UEFA, FIFA, them man are just shocked because people are starting to realize they ain't it. They haven't been in for a while. People will happily speak up against them. People that like Perez will happily go against them. And now they're shocked. So they're using whatever tactic they can to keep people on side. But it's only a matter of time before UEFA and FIFA get got. And we see a different change and a different. I think I just had a power cut in my yard.
You had a power cut.
It's either a power cut or my light just like literally just ran out of battery.
Well, you're still here. So the internet's working still. So you're still here for now.
Yeah, it's just my okay, it's just my battery. Anyway, my light, sorry.
But anyway, yeah. Oh, what's happened to KJ? I thought Safe
it's gone.
Safe walked in. I thought Safe walked in.
Well, no, none of that. I thought UEFA heard what I was saying and caught the thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like they're gonna get got at some point. They'll be changed, just like how the Premier League took over the first division. There will be another change to the world powers, I believe, at some point.
Yeah, I agree. Tahir here says the Football Terrace Elite League. Yeah, that'd be good. Do you know what I mean? If I had a few billion, we could start it. Do you know what I mean? And get the ball rolling. Get the ball rolling. Roman is selling Chelsea from his left to his right hand. He is selling them to a company that he is the owner of, but not the managing director, executive of. He is keeping Chelsea. Listen, if he does that, the part of me would just laugh. I would laugh so hard. That'd be hilarious. They say Roman was a great owner. He sacked managers every season, not building an organic family culture, but money, mercenaries. Oh, and John Terry is what Maths has got. So Maths here challenging the ownership of Roman as not being. Listen, was he perfect? Not in my opinion. Did they achieve brilliant things? Yeah, they won more than anybody else. And look, you could argue that, you know, City's trajectory right now is going to another level. And I do believe Chelsea in the last 4 to 5 years have tried to kind of adapt what they do and try to run it more in Man City's way. They're trying to create something, but they just got to run it their way, ain't they? Do you know what I mean? It's got to
there's not this whole organic family culture thing. It's not every club gotta do that, bro. Like, not every club gotta do it like that. I don't even is Man City an organic family culture club? I don't think so. I think they're a very, very well run club with a clear vision and a structure and a pattern, but I don't see it as a organic family structure. Like it is what it is. You do what you do for it to win. And if it is sacking managers left, right, and center and buying all these players, but you win trophies, then it matters. Even if it is just, oh, we keep one manager and we just use the youth system and that's it. But you end up winning the league. What's the difference?
Yeah, mate, I agree with you completely. Someone sent me a video here and said that it's Thomas Tuchel chasing a random person in the street.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't think it's him. But it does look like him a lot. Like,
no, it's not Tuchel.
I
just watched it. He says to the man afterwards, he says, come. Yeah, Tuchel ain't chatting like that, bruv. And
nah.
He doesn't like Thomas Tuchel, though.
Well, we're saying that. Do we know where Tuchel's from, though? Like, he could be from
really.
Still.
Yeah, he's not. I watched a show last night on Netflix called "The Worst Roommate Ever," and each episode is like quite chilling, and it's all about different types of roommates and how bad they all are. And one of them is a very sad story about a woman who is like murdered by her roommate. But he does this thing like I want to say Korean by origin, but moved to America when he was like 2. And it made me laugh, right? Because you hear his police interviews and he's speaking with like very broken English. I'm not going to try and sound like I'm going to get offended, but he's speaking with broken English. And they were then going back to like interviewing of the family members of the woman that died and everything else. And they were like, yeah, we couldn't understand it because from the second she went missing, he lost his thick Southern American accent and started speaking like he just arrived in America. And it made me die. So maybe that's what Thomas Tuchel has been doing. Maybe Tuchel is putting on a German accent, but he's actually from Croydon. Man is from Croydon.
Well, it could be. He could be from Ends.
Yeah,
he could be from Ends, ready to beat man down. But yeah, I don't think it's him.
He realized if his name was Thomas Smith, nobody would take him seriously. So it was like, I need to have a German thing so people listen to me more, so people don't get offended. Playing a league format against Europe's best teams is the ultimate litmus test. Bring it on. Also, as a Liverpool fan, I'd be happy to know no English team could ever overtake us in terms of UEFA Champions Leagues.
You know what? I don't even care. I don't even care. You know, like if they said that the Super League is a new thing and you cut off the Champions League and starting on Super League, I'd be like, all right, cool. That means everyone's on zero Super Leagues. And if anyone brings up the Champions League, I'll be like, yo, that's in the past. That's a dated format. You know,
it's just true. And it is, as you said, that it is the ultimate litmus test in the sense of if you win the Premier League and the Super League, you are the unadulterated
champions of Europe. Best team in Europe.
You know, because in Europe, the best team in Europe can have. When Liverpool were the best team in the world a couple of years ago, they had a bad 2-3 weeks, and they lost to Watford. They got knocked out the FA Cup by Everton, and they got knocked out by Ati. But they were still the best team in the world right then. Where if it was the league, you could have a bad 2 weeks and still win. You know, that's the one thing.
Yeah.
But having said that, though, the only thing I don't like about it is, and again, this is where I think the Champions League is messed up by diluting itself because it's taken until the quarterfinals to get there. But when we play Atletico in a few, like knowing you go out if you lose tonight is a different type of feeling, if that makes sense. It's a different type of disappointment, a different type of. But I think both have their merits, and
I think maybe there's a way to add that risk element. Maybe after a certain amount of games, you get knocked out of the league or something. You know what I mean? Like you can make it so that there's still that element of we have to win. You know what I mean? To make sure we have a chance of winning the thing. So, or again, you have the playoff kind of element towards the end of the season or something. So there are ways to add that in.
Yeah, the way I mean, that could be quite fun actually in terms of every year based on it. I don't know what they do it based on, but based on league position in your national league and how you perform if you're in the other European league already. Certain amount of new teams come in every year and a certain amount drop out. But maybe there's an element of like 5 teams drop out, but you have to, as you say, the 4 teams drop out, but there's a playoff between 8 teams. So like you all go into like single games and you kind of play off your way out of it. Like I don't know how they do. I have to see it, but I haven't really thought it through. But something like that, so you still get a little bit of like knockout football would be fun. But at the same time, we might just find look, the Premier League isn't not fun because you don't get knocked out of it. Do you know what I mean? Like the Premier
Yeah.
League, this also might help every nation's national cup become more popular because it becomes the only form of knockout football their team plays. So
Yeah.
how the Copa del Rey, of course, the famous FA Cup, maybe it makes them a little bit more potent now. Maybe it makes them a little bigger. Like all these things can kind of happen. Someone here says, "What about a Super Bowl?" I mean, I don't quite. I mean, I don't know how you do. I mean, imagine you do the final
European
like
Super
that.
Bowl.
Well, again, you could do it that way. You could do a league format until February, and then the top 4 teams go into semi-finals. And maybe it's, I don't know how, maybe we're adding too many games here. You play a 4-legged semi-final or a 5-legged semi-final, but you only play the no, you couldn't do that. 4-legged
Well, round
semi-final.
robin. You want to
Yeah,
do a round robin thing?
like you play Man United versus Liverpool semi-final. You play each other 4 times in a month, and then you do it on aggregate or whatever else, right? I don't know. And then
That sounds like the
there's
NBA.
yeah, and then there's a
Yeah.
Super Bowl fight, a Super Bowl style final. You could do something like that to keep an element of knockouts within it. Like you make it very short, as an example, maybe. But then you'll have someone that will be like, it isn't then the ultimate litmus test because you could win the league by 40 points and then lose in the semi-finals, and it's like, no.
So it happens in the NFL and the NBA. Some of the best teams in the regular season don't end up winning the the championship at the end. So, but it's again, we just have to. It's just an experiment. They have to go through, run whatever simulations that they can run through for whatever people they have. But a change is clearly needed. You know what I mean? A change is clearly needed, and I think for us to not give a decent idea a chance, like I'm not talking about the old Super League. That was definitely dead. You know what I mean? That should have. But this new kind of way of them doing it, I think you should at least give us a chance to see
how it cooks and how it does and how it develops, no doubt. As a comment here says, Terry, we are seeing close clubs journalists are distancing themselves from the suit. Of course they are. Listen, most people will distance themselves from this tournament right now. But then you'll see, this is if everybody starts to fall in love with it and like it, it'll be, I've had time to reflect on the matter. And actually, you're going to see this from journalists. You're going to see this from YouTubers. You're going to see some YouTubers rant today, like, and then you'll see that actually, well, I thought about it and, you know, I think it's my duty to cover it and talk about it. No, you're just a charlatan. You're just a charlatan. Like, again, I stand by everything I said the first time around. I was not happy with the way it was. But if they fix those things, why am I going to be angry? Again, I'm not going to move the goalposts and be like, oh, I was angry and now I'm not. Speaking of change, Manchester United, Ten Hag, Sammy McBell, for me, very credible journalist, journalist I have a lot of time for, believes that Ten Hag has got his heart set on being the new Manchester United manager. What's your take, mate?
I've been going so long without talking about Man United. Whenever they pop up, I'm just like PTSD. Oh no, like this team again. I would love Ten Hag. I would. It would be something different. It'd be something fresh. A unknown. People saying an unknown entity, which is true. Like to the Premier League. Like we don't know what on earth he's gonna do when he comes here. Is he going to adapt to the players? Is there going to be a way of no my way or the highway? And if you don't get gone, it is very exciting signing if we sign him. But there is so much that Man United have to do for me to see it. First of all, changing the way that the culture is within the club. I don't see Ten Hag coming to a club that's a mess, that just have no clear roles of who does what, where it goes, where you want to go, what is the true aims of the football club. I can't see him coming into that and just being like, all right, cool, let's get to work. Because what's there to work with? Is Ralph going to stay? Is he not? How much power is he going to have? Do you work closely with him or do you work far away? Fletcher, Murtaugh, all these different things. Like you got Arnold now in charge. Obviously, you got the people who own us. So there's so much that needs to be cleared up before I feel like a manager like a Ten Hag would even take the job. I know that I believe that Pochettino would just take it no matter what, because it's Manchester United. He's been dreaming of this job since he's been in the Premier League. So he'll just go with whatever. But someone like Ten Hag, he's got a clear way of playing, a clear way of wanting to win, and also a clear experience within a certain structure of a football club with Ajax, I think certain things are going to need to be put in place. But if Man United go in and get him, and he signs and he comes in, then to me that shows signs of that they are trying to change the structure within the club, and maybe that it's something Man United fans can look forward to. But until that, then we just got to assume the history just repeats itself like it has done for the last 9 years. So yeah, man, hopefully hopefully we get him, because I couldn't if it's a Poch thing, fam.
Well, look, I think you're right. Ten Hag coming in represents the club listening to Ralph and a proper structure being built. I still don't trust that they will build it and finish the job. The Glazers are quite literally, if they're cowboy builders, you know, they would be on those cowboy builder shows, you know, with the hidden cameras where they turn up when they're on a building site. That's the Glazers if they were construction workers, right? But we need Ten Hag, and we need Ralph upstairs, and we need Myrtle and Fletcher to be listening. If we do that, there is a chance this club could get back to winning trophies. And I say that because I have to believe that. And I have to believe I'm speaking straight facts when I say that, because my whole belief, and we all get opinions wrong, we all get predictions wrong, we all get a bit of egg on our face at times. But one thing for me, everything I've predicted, you know, within reason about the direction of the Manchester United, when it comes to the structure of the club and how we're run, has come true almost to the letter. There's been times where I've said, you know, we could win this game today. We might win this tournament. Like, we might win this final. We might do this. There's been times where I've said, listen, what we've been told we're doing behind the scenes sounds really good. We're seeing some improvements. But it also fits exactly what I believe the Glazers do. They start something, you see the improvements, and then they pull the rug from underneath the manager's feet. I'd be very excited about Ten Hag. I'd be very excited about Ralph getting a lot of power and control in his consultancy role. I'd prefer it even more if they turned around and said, we're hiring him full time. I will still keep the foot on my foot on the. I'll still keep my foot though on the neck of the ownership, because you can't just suddenly go, right, you've made the right decision in terms of your appointment, but then behave like all is sunshine and rainbows. I still think you need to, as I say, apply that pressure and push really, really hard to ensure that growth and the continuity of this new idea reigns true. You know, remember, one of the reasons that we didn't sack Ollie sooner is because the board, i.e. Woodward, didn't want another failed manager on their CV. That can never be in our train of thought ever again. You know, we need to make proper footballing decisions. Ten Hag represents a big start to hopefully a new era at Manchester United. And that'll be interpreted by rivals as, you're getting ahead of yourselves. I'm not saying we're going to win the Premier League if Ten Hag comes in because Ten Hag's here. I'm not saying we're going to win the Champions League just because we've hired Ten Hag. That goes to the complete opposite of what I've said. If Ten Hag comes in, Ralph goes upstairs, and we start to listen to football people, and we do it for a season, and then we do it for 2 seasons, and we go into a 3rd season where we've done that, and we listen, there's no reason why this club can't be successful again. We spend enough. We've had good enough players. We've had at times squads good enough and ready to compete for the major honors. We just haven't had the structure. We haven't had the culture, and then we haven't instilled from the middle out, I call it, so the boardroom out into the dressing room, the mentality that winning is the most important thing. Then you've got to teach them how to handle that. Then you've got to teach them the techniques and the tactics to be able to deliver it. But if you don't have that base and foundation, you can't build on top of it. You can't build a mentality. You can't build a style of football. You can't build continuity, because you're building it upon quicksand every single time. So I get very excited when I see the links to Ten Hag, because I believe if Ten Hag comes in, we'll have the structure. I get this feeling under Poch, we won't do that. I get a feeling with Poch, he'll be a bit of a yes man. I get a feeling with Poch. It's why if we announce we're getting Antonio Conte, I'd be more excited than Poch. Not for the style of football, but you know that Antonio Conte will hold the board to account. You'll know the fact that Ten Hag excites me is he's been at 2 clubs. Bayern Munich, in his coaching managerial career, predominantly Bayern Munich, looking after Bayern Munich's second team. It will be involved there. And then Ajax, 2 of the best run and best structured clubs in world football. That to me is what I'm more excited about then how he's going to play the game. That all comes later for me. And that's how my mind works. How we play on the football pitch, I don't care until I know the structure is good. Because if the structure's poor, the good football on the pitch is only going to last for a limited amount of time and it will fall away. So Ten Hag excites me massively. But for me, for the medium to long-term reasons for the football club, and we'll see what happens though.
Yeah, we have to wait and see. To be fair, I've written off the season. If we come fourth, great. If we don't, it's not like we expected it anyway. In terms of what we've got now, at the start of the season, yes, we expected the title challenge. We expected the better football. We expected so many different things, and that's why we are frustrated with the season that we've had. But right now, what we've had now, ever since Ollie left, even before Ollie left, the season was wrote off. So if we end up getting 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, I ain't surprised, nor will I be any more upset than I already am. So summer can't come quick enough, because as soon as the season ends, I want Manchester United to make that statement, say who the next manager is, and prove that they're actually going in a right direction. Even if it is Poch, I may not want it, but prove to us why you're making the right decision. Prove to us that why we should even bother watching this team develop again, rebuild again for like the 4th time in the space of 9 years. Like, Man United have a lot of work to do. We're not just convincing their own fan base that they've got something going on, but even the football world don't rate Man United right now. They don't look at Man United in the same kind of awe, the same kind of this team, this club, something to be trifled with. You don't want to trifle with them because they'll come. We're a laughing stock. We're here for banter. We've had years of Woodward, years of Matt Judge, years of managers losing their minds, aging like milk as soon as they flipping step through the door. Players coming off wonderful seasons and then come here and just die a slow death. But then when they leave, they find themselves again. So there's clearly something within the club that needs to get fixed. And that's the most important thing. Man United got a lot of work to do. And it starts from now, but that's very cliche. But from the summertime, especially, as soon as that window opens for players, as soon as that league ends, they need to be like, bang, here's what we've been planning.
Bro, you're right. And I look, on top of that, I see a lot of player debates online still. Oh, would you? I saw Johnny tweet the other day, I would take 120 million for Bruno and Rashford now. For me, it's still like, I'm not having a pop at that tweet in particular, but I see that from everybody. It's all, if we buy these two and sell these two, we'll be fine. No, you could get rid of all your players you hate and sign all the players you love. We're going to fail still without these elements behind the scenes being fixed. Now, I want behind the scene things to be fixed so that I can just have fun again as a fan, talking about the trivial stuff, the basic stuff, the easy stuff. But we can't focus on that, because, as I said, at home, like sometimes in life, you have like trivial things to worry about at home. Look at that. My kid's drawn some crayon on the wall. It's hard to focus on trivial things if you're struggling to pay your bills. Like, because they stress you out so much, you're not thinking about trivial things, And that's where Man United are. I can't focus on the trivial, more simplistic stuff because the most important things are broken and wrong. Interesting. There's some super chats that came through while we were talking there. First one from A-Spec says, if this goes through, do you think FSG will reinvest the money they make as accordingly to their current policy? Or do you think they will be taking dividends out of the club?
Do they take dividends now?
Yeah, I've never read that they have, but that's my lack of knowledge. We'll see. I don't know enough about. I need to know Liverpool's structure first. If they always said we won't take dividends, maybe they'll take money out of it and not call it dividends. I don't quite know, but everyone, if this goes through and there's an extra 100, 200 million in the bank accounts each year, you would expect the clubs to spend that money on the football teams rather than on themselves. Interesting question here. So maybe we can do some questions like this for the rest of the show here. Do you think R9's injury stopped him from surpassing Ronaldo and Messi? That's a really good question. What do you think, Paige?
No, yes, they did, because physically you need to be on the pitch to show that you can surpass them. But I think it's also more to do with lifestyle. I think it's more to do with mentality. Like, and people would be like, "How can you say that about R9? His mentality is elite. Look at all the goals he scored." No, I'm not talking about that kind of mentality. I'm talking about mentality to look after yourself, to be professional, to make sure that you're ensuring that your body's in a place where it doesn't get injured so much. And if you do get injured and you're doing all that, then fair enough. But look at Ronaldo, look at Messi. Those two have kept themselves fit for most of their careers. Their injuries weren't massive. They were never long. They're here or there, but they will be able to stay fit. Why? Because the mentality off the pitch reflects that. They look after themselves. They looked after themselves to make sure that they're the fittest that they can be. They live the lifestyle that, they weren't partying every flipping week. You know what I mean? Like, you can say whatever you want about Ronaldo. You don't see him out there flipping with all these different gallivanting partying. You don't see that. You may see him in a shower randomly or in the sauna.
But he's you're right. Like R9, one of the greatest talents of all times, one of the greatest strikers of all times. First and foremost, I think Ronaldo and Messi are better than him. Point blank. I think they're better. When they different things, I think Messi overall, from ability wise and everything, is better than R9 was, even if R9 didn't get an injury. But football isn't just about the as you said, the pure ability that you've got, mentality, your training methods, and everything else. I've seen lots of players at their peak be the best players in the world. Kaka had a 2 or 3 year period where he was absolutely there. If you look at someone like Eden Hazard had the ability to become World Player of the Year. He had the ability to go on to be one of the greatest football players ever. But I don't think he'll be remembered in the top 50 players ever. Maybe not even in the top 100 players ever of all time, because he didn't have the application for it. And R9 had bad injuries, but you're right. How much of his injuries and inability to recover was because of the partying and the drinking and that lifestyle? And equally, what I will say about R9 is maybe he just didn't want that. Like the way that the Messis and the Ronaldos dedicated themselves to the game, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to do it. But, of course, the injuries played a massive, massive part. But I think there are many, many other things at play there as well. I think talent and ability is there, but you've got to put work rate and even staying fit. Like your body, injuries always get looked at as it's a shame you've got an injury. But it's a physical part of your game. It's like saying, oh, you know what? Like, do you know how much better a footballer? If I'm just trying to think of a striker here, if Harry Kane had the blistering pace of Rashford, he'd be much better, but he doesn't. Like, you can't just excuse one person's physical ailment and then put others down for it. Does that make sense? Like, if Harry Maguire had Van Dijk's pace, he'd probably be a better defender because he'd have recovery time, right? But he doesn't have that. We can't not talk about Harry Maguire's lack of pace. We have to talk about it. That's a part of him. If you're a player that's injury prone, if you're a player that puts pounds on easily, it's a detriment when it comes to assessing you as a footballer. But as I say, there are certain elements of people's physical makeup that we focus on to use as a down point. But certain players with bad injury records, bad diet issues, bad professional mentality, as you put it, we sometimes we give them a free pass because their talent is so high.
Yeah,
I personally don't.
Like Usman Dembele, he gets injured all the time. Yes, but part of it, bro, the man will be up playing FIFA or playing video games before matches and stuff and before training. Like, stuff like that is where we have to look at it and be like, right, like, you can't help injuries, fine, but what can you help and contribute to that can make you better? And sleep, just even rest is important. Like,
of
honestly,
course it is. Joshua here says, I actually think if the board brings Poch in this summer, it's going to be toxic because the majority of the fan base want Ten Hag.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It is. I think again, it depends on the type of person you are. I don't want Poch, but if Poch comes in, I'm going to support him and be open-minded and celebrate the good things that he does. But will I be quicker to turn on Poch than Ten Hag? Probably. I'm a human being and I don't want him. So yeah. Oral here says, if we get Ten Hag and the board don't listen to Ralph and keep doing what they've been doing for all these years, then Pep and Man City, then Pep City don't think TH might walk.
Ten Hag won't walk. He'll just get sacked. Managers
Yeah,
don't walk
yeah.
from Man United. They just get their ass sacked.
He
Innit?
could then walk into Manchester City and then embarrass us. I think what you're
Yeah,
trying to
that
do.
would.
Yeah.
I can see that happening, and he would. I can see him condemning us a lot in press conferences as well. So
Yeah, I can definitely see that being the case. Terry, I wonder how would Messi and Ronaldo have looked at now if they had major injuries in 2009? Of course, and like we said, if you listen to my words, it played a major part in Ronaldo, but not the only factor. So, like I just said, like it does play a major part. Nobody discounted that. So again, your comment is respected, but equally, we literally said what you've already said. So there's no need to point it out, like none at all. And of course, medicine is better now as an example, and everything else, and fitness is better now than it used to be. But then you're playing against people with better medical conditions and better fitness conditions. Got to remember, R9 was playing. It was still playing in the era where mans were drunk and drinking and eating the wrong foods. So it's not. There are swings and roundabouts to everything. There was less tactical analysis back then than there is now. Harder to study players. So there's all things that there's always going to be pros and con lists. At the end of the day, R9, one of the greatest strikers, one of the greatest players ever. Messi and Ronaldo are just better overall. If United finish 5th, do you think Varane will stay?
I have a weird feeling that he will. Like I don't know. There's something about him that just screams like ultimate professional. And I feel like you probably give it like a one more, especially if the new coach is someone that's really good, like Ten Hag, who's talented and you can see where he wants to go with it. I can see him staying for one more season. And then if we don't get Champions League again, that's when I see him dip. Because how old is he now? Like 28, 29? Like,
Yeah.
so he's still got, as a defender, he's still got more years after 30. So he can do one season in the Europa League we're on. He can do one season in the Europa League, and it wouldn't harm his career, in my opinion. So I can see him staying.
Do you know what it is? I don't see him leaving. Equally, he's got he did a 5-year deal. He's got 4 years remaining. United are not going to be forced into doing it. I think the professional side will be like, I've helped contribute to us not making the Champions League. I'm going to stay. I think Ronaldo is different because of his age, but he still may stay. And again, football does not end in May. Arsenal may finish in front of us, which I get for some people is painful. I get some will feel embarrassed. Arsenal's progression is 100% real. And there's a massive feel-good factor at that club, and they feel they're moving in the right direction. But that doesn't mean next year we can't jump back in front of them and push deeper into the top 4 and go further. Like football doesn't end in May. Comment here says your knowledge of R9 is embarrassing. What knowledge? Well, I just said he's one of the greatest strikers and footballers of all time. Is that not right? I just think Messi and Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, have had better careers than him.
He might be trying to say that there was no injuries at all and there was no bad lifestyle.
No, maybe. I think what he means is, I'm really angry that you don't think R9 is better than one of those two players, and I do. That's just called an opinion, my brother. That's not bad knowledge. You know what I mean? I'm talking about CR7 and Messi, in my opinion, are the two greatest football players of all time. When you put in ability, statistics, eye test, trophies, longevity, records they've broken, I think they are unmatched by anybody. So if you think that's wrong, then that's up to you. I'm not basing it purely on ability. If it was just on ability, it's a different. And this is what people do when they have a favorite player that's got more ability than player X has got more ability than player Y. They just just ability, just ability, just ability. But that isn't what football's judged on. If it was judged on just ability, how do you award like the Champions League trophy? Listen, I know Chelsea won it, but the team that played the best looking football and had the most ability was actually Liverpool. So therefore, they're really European champions. They're really the best team in Europe. No, you judge it on who wins the damn thing. And that's how football has to be. Overall, you've got to take everything into account. And as you said, my biggest thing, and I've always said this, is longevity. Being at the peak for 1, 2, 3 years is amazing. Being at the peak level and impacting teams and winning trophies for 10, 15, 20 years as a professional footballer is unmatched. Only a minuscule amount of people have done that. Ryan Giggses, Maldini's, as an example. It's the most elite of the elite thing to be able to do.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if it was just talent alone, R9 still ain't number 1 anyway. So Like, if you try to elevate him, you elevate him over a Cristiano Ronaldo in terms of talent. But I'm sorry, you ain't R9, he ain't touching Messi, bro. He ain't. Like, Messi is probably the most talented footballer we've ever seen. Just on pure talent. You got your Ronaldos, you got your Ronaldinho, you've got the Neymars who are up there as well. But just in terms of pure talent, to see this guy weave in and out of bare man and just bag a goal from 20 yards or something, left foot, right foot. The man can even score headers, and he's 5'6" or something, 5'7". Like, pure talent alone is Messi is the most
This is the
talented we've
funny
ever
comment
seen.
here. Terry's opinion is typical Brexit English fans. So I'm backing an Argentinian and a Portuguese man over a Brazilian man makes me Brexit. Can you make that make sense to a person with a brain? Oh, because I rate things like hard work. I tell you this now, my brother. You know the Spanish and the Brazilians and the Argentinians and the Italians. Do you know how much they rate hard work and passion and bravery and commitment and dedication? Every bit as much as anyone that's English, my friend. It is a universal trait that works in every industry across every single continent and country around the world. Only failures like you and your daddy should have pulled out think differently. That's all I'm going to say, my friend. That's all I'm going to say, my friend. Trying to get like that. What a fool. What a fool. Messi is something else. I don't see Ronaldo dribbling half of the pitch. Well, Cristiano did used to dribble a lot in his younger
Yeah,
days.
it wasn't the close control dribbling, but hey, give him
Different.
50 yards, bro.
Yeah,
He is blistering past
Messi's
you.
close control much better than Ronaldo's. There's no doubt about it, you know. And I think another thing that you need to and then also focus on as well is like it's not even an ability thing; it's clutch moments. Like Ronaldo has nearly 50 knockout goals in the Champions League.
He's got the most, hasn't he? He got the most knockout goals in the Champions League.
Yeah, he's got like 45 or something. Where like Messi's got the second highest at 16. Like those things there, like Ronaldo has more knockout goals than some of the world's greatest ever strikers have in total Champions League goals. It's crazy. So
It is mad.
yeah, it is mad, and you have to look at these things, you know. But then what you'll get is I see like as a Chelsea fan I know that always puts down, doesn't really rate Ronaldo's clutch stuff to elevate him. But then we'll literally talk about Drogba being the greatest ever centre forward in the Premier League because of his clutch moments. And I'm like, I can't do it. I'm dropping out of these spaces because I'm like, how can you not rate clutch for one, but make Drogba better than Henry because he's more clutch? It's just crazy. Crazy talk to me. Crazy talk to me.
One, hit us with one last good question, people. Come on now. You know you want a good debate.
Yeah, a good one is what we want. A good one is what we want. Get them super chats in, my people. Make sure that like button is being smashed as well, and you're subscribing to the Terrace.
Mm-hmm. Before you go on to the next question, Tech, have you noticed this? I've seen this slowly but surely now. People are actually bored of Messi and Ronaldo.
Well, this isn't a Messi and Ronaldo debate, to be fair.
Yeah. It's not, but like
this is
just in general, people are generally getting bored of. Like, I saw someone say, "Oh, I'm seeing Messi and Ronaldo fanboys like try and outdo each other for prop. I don't care no more. I don't care about prop for those two anymore." I was just like, "Bro, are we getting bored of these two men because they're old now?" Like, obviously time moves on and everything has its time and stuff, but like it really is coming to that time, isn't it, Terry? Like,
yeah.
both of them.
I've been bored of it really and truly for a long time, a long time, because like I always say, it's arguing preferences again and again and again and again over facts. Nobody wants to set the stall out. What are the things we consider? And then you just do a matrix and go boom, boom, boom. I prefer to debate what we weigh. You know, when we did it before, when we did the greatest ever Premier League team, and it was about we're going to point score trophies, multiple trophies, records, and everything, and then we'll run the scores afterwards. That's more fun because at least at the end you get you agree to the format, and then at the end you know who wins, as opposed to otherwise you just argue in circles. I listen to a lot of spaces, and I've stopped listening to most of them now because I go on every day and it's the same argument or the same thought process for every debate, and it's like I can't do it. Here's a good one. Okay, there's two. We'll come back to this one in a second. There's one that's just come through here. Quick one. Do you think it's realistic Everton could go down?
No, because the mighty Donny van der Beek plays for Everton. No, realistic, yeah, they could, and it's actually pretty scary. And if they go down, I think they'll be the first team since Aston Villa that had never been relegated from the top flight
top
to
flight.
finally go
It could
down
be.
for the first time.
I think the problem is that there's probably too many teams that are worse than them. I think they'll just about stay up, but it would be funny. It would be funny to see. I don't even know why it'd be funny. It just would. Terry's been moving differently since he got hair. I rate it though. I don't know what that means, but thank you. I know what moving differently means. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing differently. P.S. As a Man United fan, it's the first time I'm bricking it playing City. Can Man United? I'm going to turn it into a question.
Yeah.
Can Man United beat City on Sunday?
Hell yes, we can, because we do it all the time for some weird reason. We end up just turning up against Man City, bro. I saw someone tweet, time for our annual practice session at Etihad. Bro, you ain't won against us at the Etihad in flipping time. OT is your training ground against us. When you go Old Trafford, that's where you get your training ground victory. When we go Etihad, I don't know why, we just end up turning up, getting out a draw at least out of it. What? We've won there the last couple of times and got a draw out of there too. Like, fam, like it is doable. Do I believe we will? No, I don't think we'll win. I can see us getting us a flipping draw, though. I can see us sweating out a draw. And all those misses, you see all those misses that we've been having against these teams, guarantee you we'll actually be clinical for once in our lives against Man City. It's just the way United are.
One of these next 3 games is going to Man United will shock people, I think. Whether it's City, whether it's the Tottenham game, whether it's the Liverpool game, there'll be one where everyone goes, "Oh, United were really good today." I don't know whether we'll beat City. I haven't made my mind up whether we'll even be competitive in the game yet, but I'm intrigued about it because it's the game everybody says that we should lose. I'm very, very intrigued. Steakpool here says you've been cussing people more. I've been cussing people more. Steak. I've been calling out people like you that are trolls that turn up to my streams, slag off everything I say, put down what we do, but yet you turn up every week. I'm giving people like you crap. And the irony in it is, certain men like you, since I've got a hairline back, you got no more jokes for me. All you had was your bold, which in itself was weak. Do you know what I'm saying, Steak Paul? Do you know what I'm saying, bruv? It just is what it is. It is what it is, my friend. Just man like you. We did have another super chat that came through saying most overrated 11 of all time in the Premier. That's a long one, which we ain't got time for. But my most underrated player in the Premier League, there's 2 I've got: Teddy Sheringham and Michael Carrick. I think they're both criminally underrated for how good they were as players and for what they achieved in the game as well. Both, Michael Carrick is in the top 10. He's in my top 5, but he's in the top 10 Premier League midfielders of all time. And if he was playing in this era where his position is more respected, 100% he'd be rated more, in my opinion. Who'd be your most underrated player, mate?
I've never really thought about that, Like, Michael Carrick is definitely one that comes to mind because he doesn't get as many plaudits as he deserves, you know what I mean? Because he's amazing footballer. But I'm trying to think outside of Man United, who is also up there. Actually, I can't do outside of Man United because it's hard for me. I can, but I can't. Andy Cole. I think Andy Cole, as a striker, does not get the respect that he deserves. And you know what? Talking about another underrated player, Emil Heskey needs some damn respect.
Is he coming on your? Is he coming on your podcast or something? Is that why?
No, he's not. He's not. All I'm saying is, KSI turned my man into a meme, and then since then he just got cussed for everything. But his goal scoring record is good. In the Premier League, is good.
Interestingly, though, as well, I think that David Silva is also criminally underrated. Like, everyone rates him, but I think because he's at City, same him, Aguero, and David Silva, for the level they were at and what they achieved, they don't get the same adulation as other players do, which is not good. If Oli could beat Pep 4 times, why can't Ralph? Of course he can beat him.
Oli beat Pep 4 times. I'm sorry.
Spurs will be in mid-off. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that one there. Mid-off. That sounds...
that's going to be...
Clarence Seedorf. I don't think Clarence Seedorf was underrated at all. I can only go by my generation. We rated the living daylights out of that man. But there we go. Cage, absolutely brilliant to do a show with you again. Everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Please smash like buttons before you leave. More content out tonight. Tomorrow, the second episode of The 12th Man will be out. We're going to be filming it in here in the next hour or so. And I'm not even going to let you... Okay, we've got Man City fan Daps who's going to be here. And we've got Man United fan Zed It's going to be absolute carnage. About 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, that's going to be coming out. So stay tuned for it. The 12th Man, episode 2, original Football Terrace content. Until next time, everybody, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye.